Hey everyone, I'm BBD and I'm about to crack into my sealed pool at GP Orlando. Alright, so there's a Frontier Big Black. Alright, I'm just gonna make sure that this pool is correct. Alright, it's correct. Alright, so I'm just gonna separate everything by color and see what sweet things we have. Just looking through the list, it looked pretty bad, so that was a little disheartening, but maybe we can build something awesome out of it anyway. There are 2 debilitating injuries in black, so that's definitely a reason I want to play black, because that card's really good. Alright, multicolor. Let's see. The green has a lot of 2-drops, but is pretty weak in the top end department. There's a Savage Punch. It's not very exciting. So white has 2 feet of resistance and Einok Bondkin, which are some of the best cards, but the rest of the white's pretty mediocre. Blue has 3 cancels. I'm not sure how good cancel is. It's probably pretty good in sealed, but I'm not sure I'd want to play 3. I think River Wheel Aerialist is really good. And there's a 1,000 Winds, which is very good as well. Force Away is probably pretty good too. So blue looks like probably my deepest color. Black has some good removal too. And red just looks real bad, so. Alright. And now let's look at these multicolor guys. I have 2 Temur guys and a Temur Charm, so even though my red's bad, both my blue is pretty good and my green's like okay. I also have Ice Feather Aven too, so a lot of my good multicolor cards are green and blue. I have a couple of Pony Back Brigades in Mardu. I have a Narset and a Freak Weapon Master in Jeskai, and a Death Frenzy and an Abzan Guide in Sultai, so see nothing too special there. A couple of banners. I don't think Ultra the Brood's very good, but maybe as a sideboard card against like a super heavy Dredge Delve deck, you can just mill them out. I do have a lot of fixing. Not a lot of it's white though, so it looks like I probably can't play white. I guess my white's not that good anyway. I do lose out on some of these multicolor cards, but I think Ponyback Brigade's only okay. And I think that Narset's probably not that great because I don't have that many spells to cast off of a Narset. Like most of my deck's mostly just gonna be creatures. So I'm gonna start laying out the Temur deck and see how that looks. Alright, so 1,000 Winds we definitely want. Probably these card draw spells. Water Whirl, Aerialists. Embodiment will help us splash. 3 cancels. Alright, so let's see. I could play Archer's Parapet maybe if I splash black. get these guys too. So, Ice Feather Aven, Temur Charm, Avalanche Tusker, and Bear's Companion. Well, this deck just looks really bad to me. I might have to end up playing this, but it just doesn't look very good. I mean, I just have a bunch of 2/1s that are really not that impressive in this format at all. And I have some card draw, and Water Wheel's pretty good, and I have a couple of big creatures, but I'm not really sure like how I'm going to be getting my creatures through. And I only want to play like maybe like 2 of these. I don't want to play all these guys. So this deck looks pretty bad. Let's see if we try to splash black into it, how it looks that way. So we get Sidisi's Pet, which maybe is not that great. So we get 2 debilitating injuries, a dead drop. It's not very exciting either, to be honest. Well, my black's probably my best color, so I do want to try to do something with black. I could try like a Mardu deck. Lose out on... I mean, that would make a lot of my aggressive cards better. I lose out on some of my big stuff, but this deck just doesn't seem like it's there. I mean, I have very good Temur big creatures, but the rest of the Temur deck just seems real bad. So I get a couple of Ponyback Brigades, Hordling Outburst. Maybe if I have some ways to pump my tokens, or to make my tokens good. I think I had one of those white cards that's... Let's see where my white is at. Alright, so let's move this stuff over. Mardu Hateblade, a couple of Feet of Resistances, a Bond Cannon, a Rush of Battle. This got 2. Yeah, this deck looks pretty bad too. It's just not enough like cheap creatures to really... I guess I could play this flyer, and I'll probably play Smite the Monstrous, and yeah. This deck just seems real bad. I think the Temur deck is better than this deck because like I just have a bunch of cheap creatures, but like I don't have any real, I don't know, like I don't have a super aggressive start, and I don't have like a lot of raid creatures. I'm just going to be playing these like random 2/2s and 3/3s, and then my removal is good, but that's about it. So I don't think this deck's going to cut it. Let's see about... Alright. Let's get this deck out of here. Magic player. try a... See about a Sultai deck, or a Jeskai deck. Because I do have some tempo he plays, so maybe a Jeskai deck's good. I really want to play 1,000 Winds because like my pool's pretty weak, so I want to play my best cards. I guess I could play the Embodiment in this deck. Oh no, because I need green to access that. So, oh yeah, I forgot I had that guy. That guy's actually pretty good. Play Active Treason maybe. And let's look at my whites. Yeah, I think my white's just too bad to play. Like, I'm not even going to bother with it anymore. There's just not enough on white, so I'm just going to skip white and ignore white for the rest of the time because there's just nothing in white, so. So I'm probably back to just trying to play. Like, I guess I just have to play my best cards, so. It's probably going to be a 4-color deck. And it's probably just going to play like Avalanche Tusker and Bear's Companion, Longshot Squad, Woolly Loxodon, Ice Feather Aven, Temur Charm is definitely in there. So maybe some number of these 2-drops, 1-drops. Play Highland Games as well. Alright, so maybe, I don't know, Meandering Tower Shell I think is just really bad. I probably have to play Savage Punch in this deck. I could also play Scout the Borders if I'm playing 3 colors, or 4 colors. Because I think that like, I want to play these cards. I want to play both my Debilitating Injuries. Alright, let's see how the mana looks for this. It's 2 black greens. Here's a blue-red duel. Here's a duel. Here's a black-red duel. Duel. So I can play, I guess, a lot of non-basics. I have access to 7 of them. Actually pretty solid. How many of these just produce black on their own? I guess there's 3. Alright, so this deck's gonna be a control deck, so let's get rid of like Active Treason. Let's get rid of Hordling Outburst, it's gonna be too hard to cast that. Let's get rid of like a lot of these 2s. I guess that guy might be better than some of those. Well, I think if I'm going to splash black, I'm not going to play like this. I'm not going to play this. I'm just going to splash for like the good cards. So, Debilitating Injuries to kill morph creatures. Maybe Bitter Revelation, because I just want to draw a lot of cards with this deck, I think, so. Alright. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the 2s and 3s I have, but alright. So I want to play. I probably don't want to play all 3 cancels. Maybe just 2 cancels. Maybe I don't play any cancel. Like cancel might just be bad. especially like in a 4-color deck, having double blue is probably a problem, so I probably don't want to cancel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cards. So how many guys do I have that died to this? These are all 3s. These are all big. This is big. These are theoretically big. I guess these guys die, these guys die. This card could be really good if I'm building my deck such that I don't lose a lot of my creatures to it. Like I should play this maybe as a 2-drop. Since this one's defensive and it actually can get in damage later in the game. Like Jeering Instigator, I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to play this card. I'm probably supposed to play this card, but it doesn't seem that good in my deck. But it's probably like, this card's probably really bad in my deck, just a 3-1. This guy's probably pretty bad too, because I'm not really going to be that aggressive. But actually, I probably just need him anyway. So Savage Punch. I'm not gonna play Scout the Borders. It's 24 cards. I gotta try to figure out like what is my actual like game plan for winning the game. Like I need to have like some sort of a game plan. I can't just play creatures or play cards and hope to win. So I think my game plan is to just draw a lot of cards and win that way. But I do need to have ways to get in damage. So I think that like I guess Avalanche Tusker. I can use Tusker along with like some of these removal spells to force my opponent into bad blocks. I'm gonna cut this Cantree Warden. I don't think that I need it. I have a lot of cheap removal. I have some defensive creatures early, so I don't think having that guy is that important. Man, this deck looks real bad. It's pretty unfortunate. I don't know, I might be missing something with this pool, but it just does not seem like a very good pool. I think I want one cancel. I just have to have something. I just want to have something for bombs later in the game. It's also really good with Weave Fate because I can just sit on cancel and Weave Fate. I mean, I guess I have Temur Charm too. I think I just want maybe just one cancel. Maybe I should play this card too as a just as a fat blocker. It's not a very good attacker, but I don't know. That seems kind of bad though. But no, I think I'll just play, like, I have the Woolly Loxodon already, so I think I'm fine in that regard. Maybe this guy's not that great. Just a first strike. I don't really have any pump spells, so he definitely becomes worse in that regard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't want to have too few creatures, though. Like, there's definitely a risk of just having not enough creatures to kill my opponent with. I also just build this aggressive Temur deck and just try to kill my opponent fast. I don't know if I have enough to really, like, punish them though. Just playing all these 2/2s, if they just play like a 2/3, I don't know what I can do to really punish them for that. I don't know, maybe like when in doubt, when your deck's really bad, just build an aggressive deck. How many cards is this? It's 24. Is there any, I would play Dragon's Grip in this deck, definitely. Play Barrage with Boulders too. Do I have any 4 power guys? Not really. I guess I have 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe. Man, if I had a lot of 4 power guys, this card could be really good. I could just make my opponents unable to block. Savage Punch is probably in this deck. Maybe Stubborn Denial. No, probably not this either. How's my mana look for just Temur? I guess it's with 4. I guess I cut this fat creature because I'm not. Well, I mean, 6 mana on more for a 6/7 is actually not that bad. Probably keep him. I mean, this deck looks really bad, but this might be just the best version of the deck I can build. Rather than trying to like play that super grindy deck that just doesn't have a lot of good cards in it. This guy's, I guess, 7 on morph. I do still want to play these card draw spells though. Do I have any other super tempo cards? It's like Savage Punch. This might just be bad, maybe. I don't really have any way to make use out of these tokens. I mean, just having 3 guys, I guess, is fine, but it's probably the worst. I think with this deck, I want to get in early damage, and then use like Active Treason and Jeering Instigator. Try to push in the last points. I'm not really gonna win a long game. Use this to push in some points. Do I have better 2s? Might have better 2 drops. No. How many? I wish I had more 4 power guys. That would make Savage Punch and Barrage and Boulders much better. Like, Barrage might still be good anyway, but I only have like 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if I cast Barrage and I have Bloodfire Expert in play, I do get the Ferocious. I don't think it's better than anything I have right now, so... I think this looks better than the control version. I don't know. I think that the control version just has, like, just a bunch of really... I don't know. My game plan with the control version is pretty bad, I think. I don't think this deck's very good, but I think this is maybe the best version of the deck I can build. Just try to kill my opponent. All right, I have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I gotta finish this mana base.
Hey guys, Andrew Schraub here with Braun-Duin.
Okay.
We just watched you build your sealed deck.
Yes.
So the first thing you did, you sat down, you verified that the cards matched what was on the sheet. As soon as you were done with that, you said, okay, this pool doesn't look very good, but we'll see what we can do. So tell me a little about why you felt that way and what you're looking for when you're first looking at a sealed pool.
All right, well, I've opened a lot of sealed pools in this format, and this was, I think, the worst one I've ever opened.
Okay.
So basically, I'm looking for like powerful cards, and I'm looking for removal spells, and I'm looking for like sealed games generally go long, so I'm looking for like things like Outlast creatures or things that are going to get better and better as the game goes on.
Okay.
And my pool just had none of that. Like I had a couple of bombs, all of them in the Temur colors, which is why I ended up playing Temur.
Sure.
But the rest of my pool was like a bunch of like mediocre 2-drops, which a lot of these 2/1s for 2 are just not that great in this format. So.
Okay. So the 2 builds that you were, you kind of laid out one build, said, no, let's try something different, laid out a second build, and kind of ended up going back to the first.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little about each. The first build, and the build that you're actually settled on eventually, kind of a Temur, more aggressive build, geared low. You've got 5 grizzly bears, basically.
Right.
So tell me a little about the merits of that style of deck.
Okay, well, I don't think that this kind of deck's actually that great in this format. But I think that with the pool that I had, it was the best deck I could build, because my basic strategy is, when in doubt, just kill your opponent.
Okay.
So I think that when my pool is like kind of bad, my best plan is to just try to win the game. Like, I'm just going to try to like hope my opponent stumbles. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to stumble in this format playing 3 and 4 color mana bases. I mean, I know that I'm playing that myself, but I do have a lot of fixing, so I felt like my mana was actually going to be pretty good. And I think a lot of these 2-drops are going to be good at punishing my opponents if they stumble. Okay. Even if they only get in for 6 damage or 4 damage or whatever, hopefully that's enough. With like, I have multiple active treason effects, and I have a couple of big guys. Hopefully that's going to be enough to like finish the game out.
Some bears and a couple ways to punch through.
Yeah.
And then the other build, of course, you mentioned you're kind of playing it safe with 3 colors. But you had the lands available to actually go into 4.
Yeah.
And dip into black for dead drop, a pair of debilitating injuries. You had that laid out, and I think you mentioned that as you were starting to make cuts, you said that like, well, this is going to be a control deck. You had multiple cancels, multiple weave fates, kind of a lot of instant speed play to the deck. But eventually you decided this wasn't going to cut it. So tell me a little about why. Okay,
so the reason I didn't think that deck was going to cut it is because even though I had all these good control elements, I didn't really have an end game. And if you're going to play a deck like that, I think you need to have an end game. Like, I basically, black was my deepest color, but unfortunately there was no good really pairing with black. And so I ended up having to say that like I didn't want to do that, because 1, playing 4 colors introduces a lot of mana-based issues. 2, my deck was going to be super slow, and I would have a hard time maybe recovering from some of my opponent's aggressive starts. And even though I had like a lot of good cards in black, I still didn't have a lot of answers to bombs. Like, debilitating injuries, a fantastic card, but it doesn't deal with like a Wingmate Rock or I mean, I did have a couple of cancels and things like that, but if I'm playing a 4-color deck, it's a little greedy to expect to have double blue, maybe early enough to counter some of those creatures and things like that. So I felt like maybe my chances of beating a deck like that were pretty low. Or my chances with a deck like that were pretty low. Like, I think things had to really come together for that deck to be good.
Okay. So you just ultimately erred on the side of proactivity, just making sure you had a good curve, a lot of creatures, and just you want to have that puncher's chance, I suppose.
Right. Like, I'm basically banking on my opponent stumbling, or that their deck is so slow, because a lot of the decks in this format are super slow. And I know a lot of the sealed pools that I've opened only had like 1 or 2 playable 2-drops in the entire pool. So I'm really going to bank on the fact that my opponents are going to be playing those kinds of decks, and the fact that my 2-drops all can attack into a morph too means I'm probably going to, like, they're not going to want to trade their morph for a Highland game.
Right.
So, if I play a turn 2 Highland game on the play, maybe I can get in for 6 points of damage before it gets outclassed, and maybe with like an active treason or a jeering instigator, or like some sort of pump spell or something, I can actually get in a couple more points with it later on, and that's going to be my game plan. I have a couple of flyers, which is, that's going to be the heart and soul of my deck. I have 3 flying creatures. I need to draw. They are big ones. I need to draw those guys. So Really, that's my goal, is to get to a point where I can draw a flying creature and come with that.
Okay. One last question. Give a prediction here. How well do you think you're going to do with this deck?
I want to stay positive, so
Okay.
I'm going to say that I'm going to really scrap my way to a 7-2.
Is that sure? Okay.
But realistically, probably worse than that.
It's a scrappy pool.
Yeah.
I think you've got 7-2 in you. I believe in you. Thanks
Okay.
for sitting down with me.
Thanks.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming of Grand Prix Orlando.